Hi everyone. This short tutorial is going to be about the elements of fiction, and I want you to think about how you react after you watch a movie. You often analyze character and setting and that sort of thing, and it's the same thing we do when we read stories. And you will need these elements of fiction to analyze literature, so please take really good notes. So these are the elements of fiction, and movies also use the same concepts. They are theme, setting, character, and plot, point of view, language and style, symbol, and irony. So this first video will cover theme, setting, character, and plot. So the first thing is theme, and that's the central idea of the story. It's the implied view of life and conduct. So think of it in this sense. Ask yourself, what is the central message that this story is trying to share or convey? It's the same thing we would think of with movies. It's definitely not a cliche, and it's not a one-word term or generalization, such as, this story is about war. What about war? How does it affect a character? And what can we say about war in that sense? So think of it as a message about society or injustices or character beliefs and how they come about with their ideas. Think of it in that sense. That is theme. Setting. I love setting in stories. It's about time and place. And just looking at this picture, we can already get a sense of where this is. There's gumbo, there's Cajun Creole cuisine. It's definitely New Orleans. And we get that sense from the old world charm of that city street scene. Think of it when you're reading a story. It paints a picture in your mind. It definitely can be one place or many different places. But especially look at time. Think of the time period of the story, the history of what was going on at that time the story takes place. Also, time can shift between past, present, and future. So look at when the story is being told. Did incidences already happen and it's being recanted by looking in the past? Are they making judgments about what might happen in the future? Is the time sequence completely all over the place? So think about that as you're reading. Character is definitely something we will analyze. And we need to know the language in order to write about it. So we have the protagonist, who is the central character or hero, and the antagonist, who is antagonizing the protagonist. The antagonist is a force that is working against the hero. So it doesn't have to be a character. It can be a force like a convention of society, or the protagonist's own traits, where he's his own worst enemy. So think about the antagonist as the force working against the protagonist. That's the antagonist. There's a couple more things about character I want you to know. So learn these terms and use them in your writing. We have round characters, which we know a lot about. Think of it like round, so you can see them from multiple angles. And that's very different from a flat character who's all surface. We know very little about that character. A stock character is a stereotyped character, like the mad scientist or the evil stepmother. And the other interesting thing is a foil character. It's a minor character who helps to illuminate the major character through their actions. So you can compare the minor character's actions to the major character's actions, and you can make judgments based on the foil character and how they work with the main character. Okay? When we read Antigone at the end of the semester, Ismene is a foil character for Antigone. So keep that in mind as we read throughout the semester. One more thing about character I want you to know is dynamic characters are ones who change over time as we're reading the story. They change, they're dynamic. There are also static characters whose attitude and beliefs don't change. Even when they have the opportunity to do so, they remain static. And we will be analyzing those two characteristics that create character. Don't always think that the hero is someone we know a lot about or does change. And don't always think that minor characters are all surface, they're flat, or they don't change. Sometimes we know very little about the main character. So keep that in mind. The last final part for this video on elements of fiction is plot structure. And I want you to think of it kind of like a pyramid. It starts with an exposition, it has a rising action, there's a climax, a falling action, and a resolution. And I'm going to go through each of these components that create plot. What's interesting about plot structure is sometimes stories don't follow that structure at all. And I can think of movies like, I don't know, a director like Quentin Tarantino who loves to play around with plot structure and change things around. And we sometimes see this in stories too. Sometimes stories begin right near the climax, which, the story will drop you off in the middle of something major that just happened, and you don't really know what's going on. Some stories have no plot structure at all. Some stories end right when something major happens, and there's really no resolution. And if that happens, how do you think that affects the reader or the emotional tone or vibe of the story? If they end the story right when something mega just happens, right? You always want the sequel. Sometimes there isn't a sequel. So looking at the exposition of a plot, it always establishes the character, where we are, which is setting, what time period it is, which is setting, and a situation that's happening, either good or bad. And just think about the stories you tell your friends. Who are you with? Where are you? What's happening? That's pretty much how we start off our stories. And then there's the rising action, where a situation gets complicated. There's a tension that builds. Something happens. And it's kind of like an uphill battle, right? They're journeying until it reaches this holy mega conflict moment, which is the climax, the highest emotional moment in the story. Something huge happens, good or bad. I like to think of it as a volcano exploding. Then there's the falling action where issues get sorted out, emotion and tension subside. And this doesn't always happen in stories, but sometimes it does. And if there is a resolution in the story, the conflict is sometimes resolved. The ending can be really happy. But sometimes in classic literature specifically, it usually ends pretty sad or tragic or indifferent. I like to think of some of the stories that survive the ages. Some of our best stories that are well known usually end pretty tragically and leave us wanting more. And that's something interesting about plot. So I hope that this first video gives you an overall idea about these first set of elements of fiction, and that you can start thinking about how you can analyze these sort of things as you read the stories. And heck, when you're watching a movie, try analyzing the movie using these same techniques. Thanks for watching.